like to take just a brief moment to acknowledge some people who we've had joining us here this evening. And if you could hold your applause to the very end, and with the indulgence of our distinguished panel here, I'd like to express our appreciation to retired Judge Leticia Gonzalez for joining us, LULAC Vice President for Youth, Deputy State Director Jose Ray Palacios for joining us, CEO of a very good friend of all of ours at the UCC, Mr. Ricardo Diaz. Thank you for joining us. Director of Southeast Milwaukee Job Center at UMOS, Jose Martinez is here. Thank you very much for you and all of your support. And then we also have the Director of Department of Bilingual Education, Ms. Jesus Santos, too. So thank you very much for joining us here this evening. Now I will get back to our program. Question number 5. There has been much discussion regarding the loss of rights under both forms of district governance. Some say that by moving to a mayoral control governance structure, voters will be disenfranchised. Others say that students have been denied their constitutional right to an equal education for over 20 years, a denial of rights that will follow these students for the remainder of their lives. Which rights, voter rights or a child's right to an equal education, should take precedent?
I have 4 children, and you're never going to get me to pick which is my favorite child of those 4 children, and that's sort of what this question is like. Fortunately, I don't think we have to choose between these two, because I think what we're talking about really doesn't take away anybody's right to vote, and certainly, I would argue, improves the chances of a child getting a quality education. But let me address, because it's out there, that somehow this takes away someone's right to vote. And what I'll do, and I'll speak for myself, and I'll speak a little bit for Governor Doyle, but Michael can chime in on that. If you look at my entire public career, which spans nearly 25 years, you're going to see someone who has been a proponent for making sure people have the right to vote. And whether it's in the state legislature, whether it's in Congress, whether it's the mayor of this city, doing everything I can. I want people to be involved in our democracy. I think democracy is the ultimate participatory sport, and I want people to be part of it. And so whether it's Voting Rights Act, whether it's access to ballots, whether it's making sure that people can register on the day for elections, I have been fighting that fight for the last 25 years. And if I thought for 1 second that somehow we were denying a single person the right to vote, I wouldn't be here on this issue. I would argue, though, that by having this form of reform, you will have more people involved in education, because the fact of the matter is there are more people who vote in elections for mayor than they do for elections for school board. So again, I think that it's certainly a hot button issue. It's one people love to debate, but I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to, if you want to vote, you vote. That's what it's all about. In terms of education, I think it is true that there are too many children who attend schools now in our city who are denied the right to a fundamentally good education. And that is what I think is very, very important. We have to make sure that that fundamental right to a good education is not lost because the parent either doesn't know how or doesn't choose to navigate through the system. I'm a parent who had all my children go to the Milwaukee German Immersion School. I still have them there, the Milwaukee Public School. From there, they've gone to the parochial grade school that I attended 40 years ago. I'm very, very pleased with the education my children have received in the Milwaukee Public Schools. I know how to navigate the system. I'm concerned about those parents who don't know or don't navigate the system for their children.
I yield my time to my friends from the school board. I think the mayor made a very good argument.